Hello and a warm welcome to you. This is your host, Mr. T, and I'm excited to be presenting to you another lesson under the series on functions. In this specific video, we're going to be determining the equations of graphs. So to start, we're going to be looking at the following question where we're required to determine the equation of the following in the form f of x is equals to ax plus q. As you have done the theory already, you should recognize that that expression, that equation, represents a straight line. So to confirm that, you are given this diagram alongside. And if you look at that diagram, there are two distinct points given. You've got your y-intercept given as 3. You've got another point 8 is to negative 1, which lies on that straight line. It's always important for you to work from the known into the unknown. So what do we know? We know that our y-intercept is equivalent to 3. And to relate that to f of x is equals to ax plus q, we know that our y-intercept is actually equivalent to the q value. So you can confirm that your q value is 3, so my y-intercept is actually equal to 3. I can rewrite that whole equation as y is equals to ax plus 3. I've already substituted the q value, the one that we've just determined that it's 3. I move on to substituting the point 8 is to negative 1 into the same equation, and if I do it correctly, I will get negative 1 is equals to 8a plus 3. Solving for a, I first group my like terms, and I'm going to get negative 4 is equals to 8a, and therefore my a value is negative half. I can then make a conclusion to say my equation of that straight line is given by f of x is equals to negative half x plus 3. Someone would have worked it out using a different method, and that's allowed as well. So I'm going to show you an alternate method where you would recall that from theory, your a value is your gradient, your slope of that straight line. And to calculate any gradient, we use the formula a change in y over a change in x. But in order for you to use that formula, you need to have 2 points. What are the 2 points that we're working with? We're using the point 0 is to 3, which is our y-intercept, the coordinates of our y-intercept. Then the point 8 is to negative 1, which is another point which just lies on that straight line. So if we manipulate that and sub those 2 points into the correct equation, we're going to have 3 minus 1 over 0 minus 8. And if you use your calculator or you just apply simple math there, you're going to get your a value as negative half, confirming the a value that we got previously. Obviously, without a doubt, you know that your y-intercept from the graph was 3. So the y-intercept remains with the value of 3. We can then conclude that f of x is equal to negative half x plus 3 as our equation of that straight line. We move on to the second equation, or the second question rather, where we are required to use the sketch below to determine the equation of the graph that is drawn. So that is the graph that is drawn. We want to find the equation of that green graph. Let's start from the known. What do we know just by looking at that graph? From that sketch, we know that our y-intercept is 8. The value of our y-intercept is 8, and that y-intercept is actually equivalent to the q value from the general formula. And that's from theory as well. So f of x is equal to ax squared plus q. We know that the q value can be explained in 2 different ways. We said the most important explanation is that the q value represents the shift of the graph by q units up or down depending on the magnitude of q. Or one can say is the y-intercept. So in this context, we're going to apply the y-intercept rule to say the q value, your y-intercept, is equivalent to 8. Then now we've got a choice here. The other information that we know are the 2 x-intercepts, the negative 2 and the positive 2. we know that this point over here is actually 2:0, and that point there is negative 2:0. We've got a choice here to choose one of those 2 points, and we're going to sub it into that expression. Recognize that the Q value, I've subbed in the 8 immediately because we've already established that. But now I want to substitute the point 2:0. That's my choice. You would have chosen negative 2:0. It still works. So substituting that value correctly, we should get 0 is equals to a 2 to the power 2 plus 8. Then obviously simplifying that further, we're going to get 0 is equals to 4a plus 8. Solving for a, we're going to have 4a is equals to negative 8, and our a value is negative 2. Having established our a value, we now know our variables that we're looking for, your a and your q, and therefore the conclusion is that your f of x is given by negative 2x squared plus 8. I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Until next time, bye-bye.